Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 10.3 Notes, Video 2. I'm on example number 2. Once again, if you have not watched the first video, go back and watch it, guys. Alright, number 2. It's talking about tomato gardens, and they are very difficult to maintain. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. I sure didn't. It is easy to ruin a garden by not watering the plants enough, but from overwatering them. Francesca has kept a careful record of her 50 feet squared tomato garden at the amount of tomatoes that grew each week, as well as the amount of water the garden received through watering the rain. It says use your graphing calculator to create a scatter plot of the data. So I'm going to use this data right here, and I'm going to be plugging it into my calculator. So we got to go to stat, we got to go to enter. Nope. Got to go to stat. There we go. So this is all my information from that last problem. So I'm going to go up and clear everything. And I'm going to plug in the data. You don't need to watch this. Okay, so I plugged in all the data. The next thing that we would need to go to is our window. I'm going to go back to our worksheet. So when I'm plugging in the x min, that is the minimum value of x. Normally we plug in 0, but if I plug in 0, 77 is my smallest number. That's going to be a long ways away. So for this one, I'm going to do 75 as my x min, and the max, the highest number, is 315. So I'm just going to go a little bit higher than that, okay? Now we're going to do the same thing for our y min and our y max. My min is 10, that's my smallest number, so I'm going to do a y min of 5. My max is 290. I'm going to go 295. Oh, I wrote it the wrong way. 295. So that's what I'm going to do when I come back over to my calculator and I set this of 75. We said 320. That stays 0. I'm going to go 5. And then 3, what would you say? Let me look back. I can't remember. 295. Okay, and let's graph it. And I can see the 5 points right there. What type of graph is this making? This is making a quadratic. Okay, so this is a quadratic. Now, once again, it's asking us to write the equation, but we want to round to the 5th decimal. Okay, so as we're doing the equation, we're going to slide it over to calc, and I'm going to go down to the quad reg. Oh, nope, that's cube. Sorry. 5. Okay. And then hit enter to calculate. Now, it's giving us 3 numbers, there are 3 variables, a, b, and c, because the quadratic formula is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, and it tells us to round to the 5th decimal. All right, so our equation, y equals, it's negative 0.0161, and I'm going to look to see, the 2 tells me to stay the same, so it's a 4. X squared. Let's take a look. Plus 5.8977. That 1 tells me to, or I'm sorry, the 8 tells us to round up. So that's going to be plus 5.8972, or 27, I'm sorry, x. And then our last number negative 247.71713. There we go. So just like I did before, I'm going to plug that equation into my y equals, or my y1, and I'm going to get to see the line of best fit, okay? Okay, and there's my equation. Sorry, it kind of runs off the screen a little bit. And there's my graph. I can tell that this is correlation. It's negative correlation, and I'd say that's pretty strong. Okay, so even though that really wasn't part of what we asked you to do, gives you an idea of what you can do with that calculator. Okay, so um, so there's the equation once again. Now, using that equation, from part C, predict how many tomatoes you can expect when the garden receives 156 gallons of water per week. Okay, so gallons, if I look at our key right here, gallons is my x. So that's what we're going to plug in into our equation. And you have to be very careful, guys, especially with numbers this big and all these decimals, that you do not make a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to plug in 156. And let's find out, what do we get? So you guys can do that on your calculators. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try it. Just making sure that I plug in every number exactly as it says. Okay, and I hit something wrong. So I'm going to redo this one more time just to make sure I get the right answer. Okay, and there we go. I found the mistake that I made. I just mixed I wrote negative 217 and negative 247. So that's why there's a 30 spot difference. So 279.54. So 279.54. But you can't grow 0.54 of a tomato. You either grow the full thing or you don't. So for this one, we're going to round it to the nearest whole number. So that would be 280 tomatoes. Okay, so just to make sure that Mr. Grice or Ms. Carranza can see my answer, I'm going to highlight it too. So how many gallons should the garden receive to maximize the growth of the tomatoes? Approximate how many tomatoes that will that amount produce, and to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so let's think about this. I'm going to flip back to my graph. Sorry about that. Is this a positive or negative? Okay, it's negative because it's going down. So I need to find the max. I want to find the highest point of my graph, and that is the vertex. So we are looking for the vertex, and we want the max, okay? So to find the vertex, first we need the opposite of b over 2 times a, okay? So the opposite of b is negative 5.89772, all divided by 2 times negative 0.01614. Okay, and let's see what we get there. So negative 5.89772 divided by, in parentheses, 2 times negative 0.01614. And I want that to the nearest whole number. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use the point 183. And now what I'm going to do is I have to plug that number into my equation. And I've got to square that. Whew. All right, pause the video, guys. You are all on your own for that. Okay, and after you plug it in and you round it, you're going to get 322. So what that means is that the way to maximize the growth of the tomatoes is you would use 183 gallons of water and you would get 322 tomatoes. Okay? Well, guys, that's going to be it for today because in class we only did these 2 examples. In class tomorrow, we'll be going through example number 3, and guess what? That's what your video is going to be about too. Okay? So this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra, Unit 10.3 Notes, Example 2. Thanks for watching.